Cory Booker has spent his entire life bringing people with different perspectives together, regardless of party, to take on tough challenges. Take it from me. Now more than ever before, that's the kind of leader we need in the school. I'm asking you to pledge to vote for Cory on Wednesday and to make a plan. What time will you be able to get to the polls? Do you know your polling location?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States providing you every reason to go out tomorrow if you live in the state of New Jersey and vote for Steve Lonegan, because he's plugging Cory Booker. Joining us right now is Mayor Steve Lonegan, former mayor of Bogota, New Jersey, who is running for the U.S. Senate seat from that state in the special election tomorrow against the mayor of Newark. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Steve, it's great to be with you. Thank you on the eve of this historic election. I mean, the whole country is watching New Jersey tomorrow. You know, we had Sarah Palin in, we've had Rand Paul, Governor Chris Christie, we've had Rick Perry, and now we have Reince Priebus, the RNC, campaigning for me tonight in Morristown as we head into the final stretch. Steve, this is an all-out referendum on everything Obama is doing to the country. This is a referendum on Obamacare, on the Federal Department of Education intrusion into the education of our children. It's a referendum on the recent revelations about the NSA going even further than we thought in collecting our contact lists off of our computers. So a lot can be accomplished in New Jersey tomorrow. It can be really rock the political spectrum and also start putting America back on track.
Well, I want to ask you about the latest, Steve, and this is something that came to light yesterday. The Daily Caller had a story, and it basically questioned, and it went to residents of Newark who are neighbors, quote-unquote neighbors of Cory Booker. And they say they never see him. Now, I have those sound bites, which I'm going to play later, of the neighbors. But here's what I want you to hear. In typical Cory Booker fashion, and I say that because I witnessed the last debate, where every answer to every question, he was robotic and just basically the same thing. Tea Party, my opponent, Tea Party, divide. Never answered a question. And you, I got to say, were wonderful in that debate, especially, well, on so many issues, but on the end with the abortion issue, you blew me away and you blew him away. But here on WCBS News Radio 88 in New York, they had Booker on yesterday, and they also had you on afterward, and they asked him, and this was a quote, "Where do you live?" And here's the answer, which he never gave, cut 21.
So in the final 2 days of this election, instead of talking about issues, which he's trying to distract people from its extremism and the fact that he led the Tea Party, he's trying to bring up manufactured issues, which are absolutely untrue and baseless and factless, especially if anybody knows where I live. I mean, coming home at night, my neighbors see me all the time. You all reported on whether it's Sandy victims who were displaced on my block, staying in my apartment, whether it's even me helping a neighbor out during a time where she had a fire in her home. The reality is it's unfortunate that he's trying to do this at a time to distract from extremist views. And it's, again, another example of the kind of guy he is or would be if he was a United States Senator.
They specifically asked him, so tell us, settle this, Mayor, where do you live? And he never, this went on for quite some time, he never answered the question.
Vague, vapid rhetoric. That's what we've been hearing on every issue. This is a guy who gets on late-night talk shows with Jimmy Fallon and others and talks about the wonderful job he's done in turning Newark around. Here's what turning Newark around means. It means unemployment goes from 8 to 14% under this mayor. Robberies at a 14-year-old high. Violent crime its highest since before he was mayor. And murders headed towards over 100 this year, over 710 murders in the streets of Newark. Shootings in the streets of Newark. And yes, Steve, yes, bodies in the Passaic River. That is a fact. That is an absolute fact.
Which is a reference to what you said at the debate, which he took exception to, yeah.
That's because in the Star Ledger in the last several months alone, there were 2 bodies fished out. There started almost 20 since he's been mayor. So it happens to be a real fact. And I use it to illustrate just how poor the job is. But yeah, he'll run around late-night talk shows in Hollywood telling everybody what a great job he's done turning the city around. People in that city are furious. They're absolutely furious with their no-show mayor. And I suspect that it's true. I mean, this came out through other sources, that he doesn't live in that house and he doesn't live anywhere near Newark.
Do you believe he lives in New York City?
That's what people say. But again, this came out of of other news sectors. I mean, the Hawthorne house he claimed he lived in apparently is some sort of police substation. The other house he said he lives in is vacant. I'm going to.
And did he not use a P.O. box to file for the Senate race?
Yeah, very strange. It's all very sketchy, but it's pretty indicative of the facade. Cory Booker is a facade. He's a made-up candidate. He's made up by Hollywood. His issues, and I pointed this out in the beginning of the debate, his issues and his points determined by his consultants, his polling, and his acting coaches. He doesn't know what he stands for or why he stands for whatever he stands for. And that's what this election, I've given clear-cut, straight talk to New Jersey down the entire 16 weeks of this election. I believe it's what resonates with voters. That's what they're hungry
for. All right,
for.
let me ask you, reality. The truth is we live in, because I live in New Jersey, we live in a Democratic state for the most part. I mean, you do have Governor Christie. I believe he's an aberration, certainly if you look at the history of the elections, especially on the U.S. Senate side. So tell me, is it going to be turnout that's going to be the key? Is it going to be the campaign you've run or the campaign he's run? What's the key to tomorrow?
It's the campaign that I've run. It's been a 16-week, hard drive, the tortoise versus the hare. We've exposed his failed record. We've exposed who he really is. We've defined the difference between me and him in a way that resonates with voters, with Republicans, with independents, and with conservative Reagan Democrats. That's who's going to vote tomorrow. It's the people who are passionate about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, their individual liberties. They're angry about Obama saying, well, if you like your health insurance, you can keep it. Now over 800,000 people in New Jersey have received their letters that they're being thrown off of their health insurance. It's the parents who don't want the Federal Department of Education telling them how to teach their kids. It's the people who are upset about the NSA confiscating their contact lists.
And Steve, we only got about a minute, and you have said that he and Obama are one and the same. So if your victory tomorrow would send what message to Washington?
Well, it rocks the entire establishment, by the way, including the Republican Party, because it reestablishes the conservative movement. And there's going to be about, I think, 23 Democrat senators up for election next year. They're going to have a whole different view of life. And what you're going to learn is you can stand boldly on your conservative principles if you articulate them with integrity, that you win on that. That's what's mobilizing so many grassroots activists across the state of New Jersey right now. Steve, we have a phenomenal ground game. It's second to none. Everybody will admit that, and that's what's going to win this race.
All right, it's Steve.
Fourth and goal, and we're putting it over the line.
All right, Steve. We'll speak to you after the fact. Thank you very much, my friend.
Lonegan.com, Steve.
Got it, Lonegan.com. All right, folks, don't forget, if you live in New Jersey and you're listening on our great affiliate WCTC, the election is tomorrow, Wednesday, so get out and vote. We're going to talk to Shmuley Boteach, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, a lifelong friend of Cory Booker, later in the show, and ask him some of these same questions about Cory Booker. But when we come back, very interesting story about a former NFL running back and ESPN ABC analyst fired by Fox Sports. Wait till you hear why he says he was fired on the Steve Malzberg Show.